We're going to move on to the last couple of questions. We were scheduled to go to 8:15. We're going to run to 8:30 if everyone is okay with that, because we have a couple of questions that were directed specifically to candidates. So, Michael, I've got a question that was directed to Lynn and one that was directed to Chris, and then I'll give you the option of answering either one of those questions or a third question that I have here that's specifically about education. So as you listen to the questions and decide which one you'd like to answer, we'll start with you, Lynn. And the question is, one of your stated values is instilling a sense of self-reliance and self-responsibility. If these values are to be instilled in others, how are these values best advanced by subsidizing the modern state of Israel by a foreign aid?
Okay. I support Israel. I believe that it's an ally, and I would lobby for military and financial assistance to Israel, a small democratic country in a very hostile Middle East. I do want to mention that I think that has been absent and not mentioned in this debate is that we do legislate morality. And I want to mention that a lot has been talked about economics. If you don't have a moral foundation in a country, it doesn't matter what economic policy you put on top of it, it's not going to be sustained. And a very important issue to some people is this pro-life issue. And I want to readdress that Mr. Fields refuses to answer this question repeatedly, how he would protect life with legislation. And this is a critical issue to some, and I believe that he has practiced on how to evade answering this issue, and it's very deceptive. And integrity.
Right there. It's
integrity.
Off the mark of the question.
Okay. Well, I think integrity in a candidate is also very important, and I think this is a very important issue that people should not be intentionally deceived on, and that goes into your evaluation of the candidate as well. And that's my answer.
Chris, I'm going to give you the option to rebut Lynn or answer the question that's on this card. Would you like to take 30 seconds to rebut what Lynn just said, and then we'll answer this question?
my position on life, okay? And I'm happy to have any discussion with any of you good people on that debate. I will say that legislative morality is a tough sell, okay? It's a tough sell, and I don't think that's the government's role to go in there and say, hey, you good, you bad, or anything like that. I just believe in a certain set of principles, and that's what I go by. Okay, those are the principles that kept me sustained in the work for 21 years. They are principles that this country was founded on. And so, with regard to life, if anyone is, concerned about my stance on life, I invite you to send me an email, talk to me. I'll give you my cell phone number, and we'll take you out for a cup of coffee, and we can talk about it.
Michael, would you like to take 30 seconds to jump into that conversation?
Well, the only part of the question that I would have given you the legislation that I would put out there to make sure that babies grow up to be good, strong, happy adults and not have their lives cut short. But I'm going to answer that we always stand with Israel. Israel is our only partner in the Middle East. And the aid that we give to Israel is in the form of military aid. We don't give them social welfare aid. We send them weapons. And most of the weapons that we send them through our aid programs is we send them American-made weapons, so that it does increase jobs here, that they improve and they show us the improvements and send them back to us improved. And this has been a very good partnership that we've had with Israel for a very long time, and it needs to continue.
Chris, this is the question that was submitted specifically to you. And then after this, I'm going to give each of the candidates 2 minutes to wrap up and express any thoughts to you that they would like to maybe readdress. Now, the question is, you stated an openness towards the idea of special enterprise zones in North Minneapolis. How do you justify this type of government interference in the economy, given your stated rejection of such interference?
Because I don't see that as interference, okay? And frankly, what I see that as the first step toward freeing our whole entire country, okay? It's got to start someplace, okay? So if I can look on a map and say, hey, these areas are the most hardest hit by this economic crisis. Folks are in this area right here, are kicked in the gut. How about allowing the free market to actually work in this area right here? How about we reduce some of these regulations that we're putting on businesses? How about we do things to incentivize businesses to come into these areas, and let's watch this grow. I think that becomes the petri dish, and when folks see that, hey, that works, and then that enterprise zone is spread out through Minnesota, it's spread out through the Midwest, it's spread out to the East Coast, it's spread out to the West. And in that way, we begin to have a more free market society. Because I'll tell you, going into the U.S. Congress and trying to convince 434 other members that, hey, the answer is going to be less regulation, it's going to be less taxes, it's going to be, that may be a very tough sell. I'm prepared to be a realist here and say that's a tough sell. But can we start somewhere? We must start somewhere. And what that enterprise zone to me represents is a place where the free market begins to work. And then we can use that and leverage that proof that the free market does work to the rest of the country. Hey, it worked right here. It can work in other places. And so I don't look at it as government interference. I'm not suggesting that the government do anything other than get out of the way and let business grow so that folks can have opportunity.
Mike, I'll give you 1 minute to address that question as well.
In the late 1990s and the early part of this decade, or this last decade, I worked on an enterprise zone in North Minneapolis. The three of us, the only one that actually worked on an enterprise zone. I was on the marketing task force for North Minneapolis. But I can tell you another person who worked on an enterprise zone, who was a director of the enterprise zone, and that was Keith Ellison. And I can tell you that if you designate a place like North Minneapolis as an enterprise zone, you're still going to have the same DFLers running it, and it's going to be the same failure it was in the 90s and for the first 10 years of this decade, as we did run a very large enterprise zone all over North Minneapolis. The only thing that grew in North Minneapolis were nonprofits down on West Broadway out of our enterprise zone. We didn't grow any businesses at all. They didn't happen. What we need at this point is a trained workforce, which is something that the Minneapolis public school system is not delivering. And we need to actually have a reason for companies to come here to put people to work. Right now, there is no reason for them to come here.
So, what I would say is, no, you're not the only one, because I was in South Bronx, we had an enterprise zone as I was growing up. And it does work. Was it done correctly? No. What I'm not proposing is some place where a bunch of nonprofits and a bunch of community leaders leave with the lion's share of all that investment that's put in there. No, we need to retool it. And to that end, we have Dr. Art Laffer sitting down with us and working on a very detailed plan that could work right here in Minneapolis.
You still need to be able to give everywhere the same options as North Minneapolis. I should be able to have the same benefits if I'm opening up a business in Golden Valley that I would have if I was opening up a business in North Minneapolis. It's ridiculous to point a piece of geography out and say, this is where the enterprise zone is going to be.
It must
Michael,
start somewhere.
Chris, we're going to stop right there. I'm going to give Lynn real quick if she would like to jump in and make comments on enterprise zones, and then we're going to wrap up. And do you have any comments on enterprise zones?
Just that there's a lot of pressure right now on the government to do something about jobs. What we have to realize is that there's actually very little a congressperson or the government can do to create jobs. You don't get a job from the government. The government can't create a business and tell people to hire a person and to make a product and things like this. People have to be tell the public the truth. The public, it's up to each individual to get a job. When, you know, enterprise zones worked, we would have them already. It wouldn't have been some fad back in the 80s or something.
Stop you right there. Your time's